Hey, so here's a question from Melissa. Melissa said, can you do a video on the last bite? I always find the last bite so hard. So many people say the first bite is the hardest, but when I find it comes to the last bite, I don't want my food to end. It's not because I want more food, but because I know as soon as I finish eating, I will regret it. And I feel guilty and all the overthinking will start. I struggle massively with ruminating over what I have eaten in the day to make sure it was worth it, perfect, nice, etc. And that's what I hate the most. So I used to always not want my food to end, and I used to eat as slow as possible. But for me, that was definitely because I knew that once the food had ended, I'd want more, and then I would not let myself have more, and that was uncomfortable. And so I also, though, understand what you're talking about there, that, you know, as soon as you've finished eating, then those feelings of guilt, shame, disgust, and regret are going to come slamming into your head, and you then have to contend with that, and that brings up a ton of anxiety. And then for me, that would mean that as soon as finished eating, those feelings that create all that anxiety around weight gain would come in, and I then have to force myself to restrict for a really long time, or exercise, or do something to counter it. That's where a lot of people purge as well, because if you think about it, you've eaten a load of food and then you get those feelings of guilt, shame, disgust and regret, and well, how would you make those feelings go away? Well, yeah, you can either restrict, or you can either exercise, or you can purge. They're all, those behaviors are sort of problem solving if you think about it. That is you're acting to relieve a negative state that you're in. You're acting to relieve those feelings of guilt and shame and anxiety around that you've just eaten. And so all you have to understand is those feelings that you get, those feelings of guilt, shame, disgust, regret, those are generated by your fear of weight gain. When your brain's afraid of something, your brain's job is to keep you away from that thing. Emotions are a tool that our brain can use to influence our behavior. So if you eat a load of food, or you do something that could get you closer to weight gain, which is, eating, then when you've done that, your brain's going to slap you across the wrist, and it's going like, shouldn't have done that. Now what are you going to do? You could gain weight. You have to make amends. You got to change something, or weight gain's going to happen. It'll go on and on and on at you until you do something like restrict, purge, or exercise to make up for it. But if you can, when those feelings come in, if you can understand that that is your fear response right there, that's what that is. That is your fear response kicking off. And if you can understand that our job in recovery is to negate our fear response, our job in recovery is to teach our brain not to be afraid of the thing that we are having a fear response to. And you can't do that by engaging in your fear response or doing what it's trying to inspire you to do, which is to restrict, to purge, or to exercise, that sort of thing. So therefore, what should you be doing when you recognize that your fear response has kicked off? You should be doing the opposite of what your fear response wants you to do. You should be eating more food, or just lying down and resting to let your full belly digest. You should be doing all the things that your brain doesn't want you to do, because that taking the opposing, you're disagreeing with your fear response. You're saying to your brain, actually, you know what, brain, I just don't think that you kicking off about that is warranted, actually. And by doing that, you are there starting to teach your brain out of that fear response. And it's only when you've rewired that fear response, that you've rewired that fear of weight gain, that all of that emotional reaction will be gone. Because when your brain is no longer afraid of weight gain, it no longer needs to try and motivate you to suppress your body weight, and it no longer needs to try and keep you away from weight gain. So therefore, after you've eaten food, your emotional reaction will be like, that was nice. That's it. That's all that should be there after you've eaten food. The fact that you are identifying that emotional response after eating signals that you have fear of weight gain intact. And what you need to do is you need to rewire that fear of weight gain. All right, bye.